Good morning/afternoon, everyone. Today, I want to talk about one of the most powerful forces in shaping our lives, self-discipline. The way we handle ourselves in the face of challenges, how we persist when it's easier to quit, how we invest in our future instead of seeking instant rewards. These are the hallmarks of self-discipline. Everything begins with a clear understanding of why. Without purpose, we wander aimlessly, struggling to stay motivated or even understand why we should push through the challenges ahead. The power of self-discipline is rooted in this fundamental truth. If you don't have a strong reason for doing something, your efforts will quickly lose momentum. Purpose fuels motivation, but not just any motivation, the kind that sustains you even when the road gets tough. Think of purpose as the compass guiding you through the fog. Without it, every decision becomes a question and every obstacle becomes a hurdle too large to overcome. When your purpose is clear, it aligns your actions, your choices, and your mindset, creating an unstoppable force. This clarity serves as your foundation. Imagine embarking on a long journey. There will be bumps along the way, distractions, setbacks, and doubts. But if you know exactly why you're on this journey, those bumps don't feel as daunting. The purpose you've identified gives you the resilience to face the discomfort that comes with progress. Whether it's building a business, achieving personal growth, or nurturing relationships, understanding the why gives meaning to the effort, making the sacrifices feel worthwhile. I duly wish mine were more like that. Being the only one to make the bed for you and not the spouse to do it, that purpose is also deeply personal. It's not just about external goals or rewards. It's about connecting your actions to something that resonates with your deeper sense of self. It's about discovering what truly drives you, what excites you, and what you want to contribute to the world. When you align your discipline with that purpose, it becomes far easier to stay on track because you're not just doing something for the sake of doing it, you're doing it because it ties back to your vision of who you want to become and what you want to achieve. It's this connection to purpose that transforms mere actions into powerful, sustainable habits. Purpose doesn't require constant motivation. It's there to guide you even on the days when motivation feels low. On those days, when discipline feels like a heavy weight, your purpose gives you the strength to keep going. It serves as a constant reminder that the effort you're putting in today is not just for the moment, but for something far greater down the road. Purpose is the bedrock of every successful endeavor. It's the difference between a fleeting burst of enthusiasm and sustained commitment over time. So, as you build your self-discipline, always return to your purpose. Let it drive your actions, shape your decisions, and guide you through the obstacles. With a clear purpose, discipline becomes not a struggle, but a natural extension of your journey. Consistency is the quiet power behind every successful endeavor. It's not about making huge strides every day. It's about making small, steady progress that adds up over time. The idea of consistency may seem simple, but its true strength lies in its ability to create momentum. When you do something regularly, even on the days when it feels insignificant, you build the kind of discipline that can weather any storm. The key to embracing consistency is understanding that progress isn't always linear. There will be days when your efforts seem to produce little to no result. You might feel frustrated, wondering if all the small actions you're taking are even worth it. But the truth is that consistency doesn't rely on immediate gratification. It's about showing up, doing the work, and trusting that each effort is compounding toward a larger goal. Consistency requires a shift in perspective. It's not about achieving perfection in every moment, but about making a commitment to keep going. Every day you choose to show up, even when motivation wanes or distractions arise, you build a habit. And habits are what carry us through when willpower fades. It's easier to remain disciplined when the action becomes automatic, when it's part of your routine, woven into the fabric of your day. One of the most powerful aspects of consistency is its ability to transform ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. When you commit to something small, done repeatedly, the cumulative effect is profound. Whether it's a daily workout, setting aside time to read, or working on a long-term project, each small step taken consistently pushes you closer to your goal. The change might be imperceptible day to day, but over time, those tiny actions have the power to completely transform your life. Consistency also helps to solidify your identity. The more you practice something, the more you start to see yourself as someone who does that thing. It's not just that you're working on a goal, but that you're becoming the kind of person who is committed to that goal. Consistent actions reinforce the identity you're building, and that identity becomes your motivation. Embracing consistency doesn't mean being rigid or blind to your progress. It means trusting the process. It's about giving yourself permission to move forward without needing immediate feedback or acknowledgement. Success often comes not from a single breakthrough moment, but from the consistent, persistent effort that's put in day after day. Even if you don't see results right away, every small action compounds, creating a foundation that eventually leads to lasting change. True self-discipline isn't about working hard when you feel like it. It's about working hard when you don't feel like it. It's about making the choice to keep going, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. Embrace consistency as a way of life, and you'll find that it's not the occasional bursts of energy that lead to success, but the sustained effort that turns ordinary actions into extraordinary achievements. Making self-discipline personal is where the true power of consistency and purpose comes alive. It's easy to see discipline as an abstract concept, something that exists outside of us, a set of rules we follow because we should. But the most effective discipline is the kind that is deeply rooted in who we are and what we care about. When discipline becomes personal, it transcends obligation and becomes a driving force aligned with our values, our aspirations, and our vision for our future. The first step in making discipline personal is understanding that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. What motivates one person might not motivate another. The goals we set for ourselves are inherently personal. What matters to you may not hold the same weight for someone else. That's why when you begin to practice self-discipline, it must be tied to something that resonates deeply within you. It must be anchored in your personal values, dreams, and desires. Discipline, when it feels personal, isn't just about achieving external success. It's about becoming the person you know you're capable of being. The process of disciplining yourself is, in essence, an investment in your own growth. Each small act of self-control, every decision to stay the course, becomes a reflection of the person you are choosing to become. This is why self-discipline feels effortless when you've aligned it with something you care deeply about. It becomes an extension of your identity. When you discipline yourself for something that matters to you personally, it's easier to stay committed. It's no longer about forcing yourself to meet external expectations or doing what others think you should do. It's about honoring the promise you've made to yourself. Whether it's dedicating time to learning a new skill, nurturing your health, or cultivating a meaningful relationship, these are personal goals that require a level of discipline grounded in self-respect and self-love. When you connect self-discipline to your personal growth, the process shifts from being a burdensome task to a rewarding experience. It's no longer about doing it because you have to. It becomes about doing it because you are growing, evolving, and shaping your future self. Your goals aren't just milestones, they're steps toward a deeper sense of fulfillment. And this transforms your relationship with discipline. It's not something you have to do, it's something you are motivated to do because it moves you closer to the life you truly want. Discipline, when deeply personal, also gives you the strength to push through when the path is difficult. It's easy to give up when your goal isn't connected to who you are, but when the goal is an expression of your personal values and vision, quitting feels like abandoning a part of yourself. The more personal the discipline, the more resilient you become in the face of obstacles. Furthermore, when you make discipline personal, you start to see setbacks not as failures, but as part of your growth journey. It's easier to forgive yourself when you stumble because you understand that progress isn't linear and perfection isn't the goal. The goal is to stay connected to your purpose, to remain focused on becoming the person who can achieve what you've set out to accomplish. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to learn more about yourself and how to navigate life's complexities with greater strength and wisdom. This personal connection to self-discipline also makes it sustainable. You are not simply acting out of willpower, but out of a desire to honor your own potential. It becomes ingrained in your daily choices, turning small decisions into powerful transformative actions. When you make discipline personal, It becomes not just something you do, but something you live. It becomes part of your identity. And when it is part of your identity, it is no longer something you do, it's something you are. Habits are the foundation upon which self-discipline is built. They are the small, repeated actions that, over time, become second nature, requiring little to no conscious effort. The true power of self-discipline lies not in moments of intense willpower, but in the consistent habitual behaviors that we cultivate in our lives. Habits are the bridge between our goals and our reality, transforming our intentions into tangible outcomes. The process of creating habits begins with consistency. You don't need to make drastic changes all at once. Instead, focus on taking small steps that you can easily repeat. These small actions, when done regularly, begin to shape your routine. Over time, they become automatic, embedded in your life in such a way that they no longer require the mental energy and decision-making they once did. This is the beauty of habits. They don't drain you, they support you. When you create habits, you eliminate the need for constant motivation. Motivation is fleeting, often unreliable, and dependent on external factors. But habits, once ingrained, don't require motivation to keep you going. They become part of your everyday life, and doing them feels almost effortless. This is why self-discipline is most effective when it is rooted in habitual behavior. Instead of relying on willpower to push through every moment, you can rely on the routines you've established to keep you on track, even on the days when you're tired or distracted. The key to building habits that support your goals is to start small and be consistent. It's better to take small, achievable actions every day than to aim for something too ambitious and risk burnout. For example, if your goal is to get healthier, don't aim for an hour at the gym every day from the start. Instead, begin with 10-minute workouts that you can commit to daily. Gradually, as the habit forms, you'll find it easier to increase the intensity or duration. The power of habit lies in its ability to compound. Small efforts, when repeated consistently, yield significant results over time. Creating habits also involves a deep understanding of your environment and how it influences your actions. The things you surround yourself with can either support or hinder your ability to form positive habits. For example, if you want to read more, place books in visible spots around your home, making it easier to pick one up when you have a free moment. If you're working on building a habit of mindfulness, set up reminders throughout your day to pause and take a breath. By designing your environment to support the habits you want to create, you make it easier to stay disciplined and consistent. One of the most important aspects of habit formation is patience. Habits don't form overnight. It takes time for new behaviors to become automatic, and along the way, there will be moments of frustration. You may miss a day or two or feel like your progress is slow, but this is all part of the process. The more you stick with it, the more natural the behavior becomes. Over time, these small actions add up, creating lasting change in your life. The key is not to get discouraged, but to keep going, trusting that the small habits you're building are making a bigger impact than you might realize in the moment. There's also an element of self-compassion in creating habits. You won't be perfect, and that's okay. The beauty of habit formation is that it's forgiving. If you miss a day, don't berate yourself. Simply pick up where you left off. The key is to make the habit so ingrained that even when you slip, it's easy to get back into the flow. This mindset helps you maintain momentum as it shifts the focus from perfection to progress. It's the consistency, not perfection, that will carry you forward. As you develop habits, you'll find that they become a natural part of your identity. You're no longer someone who has to force themselves to do something. You're someone who naturally engages in behaviors that support your growth. Habits shape the way you think, feel, and act. They become a reflection of who you are and who you are becoming. By choosing habits that align with your goals and values, you can transform your life in a way that feels effortless, because your habits will be in harmony with the person you're striving to become. Ultimately, creating habits is about turning your desired behaviors into actions that support your larger vision. When you make your actions habitual, they become the automatic steps that lead you closer to your goals without requiring constant effort or struggle. This is the true power of self-discipline. not in the moments of exertion, but in the consistent, small choices made every day that add up to something extraordinary over time. Focusing on the long term is one of the most powerful ways to cultivate self-discipline. In a world filled with distractions and instant gratification, it's easy to get caught up in the desire for quick results. Yet, the most meaningful achievements in life require patience and the ability to look beyond the immediate. When you focus on the long term, you're essentially committing to a journey rather than seeking a quick fix. This perspective helps you stay grounded when faced with short-term temptations or setbacks. In the short term, the path to your goals may not always feel rewarding. You might not see immediate progress, and the effort you're putting in can feel exhausting or even fruitless. But when you focus on the long term, you shift your attention from the immediate struggle to the bigger picture. You remind yourself that every step you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to a greater outcome. Whether it's physical fitness, personal development, or career advancement, the long-term view allows you to embrace the daily grind as part of the larger process. One of the greatest challenges in focusing on the long term is learning to manage impatience. We live in an age where everything is available at the touch of a button, and the idea of waiting or working steadily for something feels foreign. But true success requires delayed gratification. You have to be willing to make sacrifices today for the rewards that will come tomorrow. This doesn't mean ignoring the present moment or the small wins, but it means understanding that the journey is just as important as the destination. It's the ongoing effort, the persistence, and the continual progress that build lasting success. Focusing on the long term also requires the ability to resist the temptation of shortcuts. While shortcuts can provide immediate rewards, they often come at the expense of long-term stability and fulfillment. Quick wins might feel good in the moment, but they don't create the depth or lasting impact that comes from sustained effort. When you focus on the long term, you understand that true mastery and meaningful success come from continuous improvement and incremental progress over time. It's the daily commitment to growth that leads to lasting transformation. Another crucial aspect of focusing on the long term is the ability to envision the future version of yourself. When you think about where you want to be in the coming months or years, it becomes easier to endure the present challenges. Long-term thinking is about seeing beyond today's discomforts and visualizing the person you'll become, the opportunities you'll create, and the legacy you'll build. This vision pulls you forward, giving you the strength to keep going even when progress feels slow or non. Focusing on the long term also encourages resilience. Life is full of setbacks, and the road to success is rarely smooth. When you keep your eyes on the horizon, you are less likely to be derailed by short-term disappointments. You learn to view setbacks not as failures, but as valuable learning experiences that are essential to your growth. With a long-term focus, you develop the ability to bounce back from adversity with renewed determination, knowing that every challenge is a stepping stone toward your ultimate goal. Furthermore, focusing on the long term is a mindset that allows you to see your efforts as part of a larger story. Every decision, every action, and every sacrifice is contributing to a narrative that extends far beyond the present. When you think long term, you give meaning to the work you do, recognizing that it's part of a larger journey, and this perspective makes even the toughest challenges feel more purposeful. It's not just about getting through today, it's about building a future that reflects the person you want to become and the life you want to live. By shifting your mindset from short-term gratification to long-term vision, you develop the patience and discipline necessary to achieve your goals. The daily actions, no matter how small, start to feel like important steps on a journey that is leading to something far greater than you can see right now. The long-term perspective helps you push through the inevitable tough times and makes the ultimate rewards that much more fulfilling because you know they were earned through sustained effort and commitment. When you focus on the long term, you are also making a commitment to the process, not just the outcome. This means that you're able to find satisfaction in the daily progress, even if it's not immediately visible. You begin to appreciate the growth, the lessons learned, and the resilience developed, which ultimately become just as valuable as the goal itself. In this way, long-term thinking transforms the journey into a meaningful experience, one that continuously enriches your life while propelling you toward the future you desire. Understanding trade-offs is an essential component of self-discipline, as it forces us to acknowledge the choices we make and the consequences that come with them. Every decision we make, no matter how small, comes with its own set of trade-offs. These are the sacrifices, the things we choose to give up in order to gain something else. Recognizing this dynamic is crucial because it allows us to make more intentional, thoughtful decisions in line with our values and goals. Without understanding trade-offs, we may fall into the trap of pursuing multiple desires at once without fully considering the costs, leading to burnout or dissatisfaction. When you understand trade-offs, you start to see life not as a series of random events, but as a series of calculated choices. You acknowledge that when you say yes to something, you are, by default, saying no to something else. For instance, if you decide to spend your evening working on a personal project, you are sacrificing time with family or relaxation. This isn't a bad thing, but it's important to be aware of it. By recognizing these trade-offs, you can be more intentional in your decisions, choosing what truly matters most to you in any given moment. Understanding trade-offs also requires self-awareness. It's easy to fall into the habit of making decisions based on immediate desires, like the urge to watch TV instead of working on a goal. However, each time you make that choice, you are trading immediate pleasure for long-term growth. Over time, these small decisions accumulate and can significantly impact the trajectory of your life. By understanding that every action is a trade-off, you become more mindful about where you're placing your energy. This mindset also helps you manage your time and resources more effectively. Every day, we have a finite amount of time and energy, and how we choose to allocate it ultimately determines the kind of results we get. For example, if you're working toward a fitness goal, you might need to trade some of your free time or indulgences for more time spent exercising or preparing healthy meals. The trade-off here isn't necessarily about giving up enjoyment or comfort. It's about consciously choosing the path that aligns with your greater objectives. You become more discerning in how you prioritize your efforts. Furthermore, understanding trade-offs is essential in managing expectations. It's easy to want everything at once, to excel in your career, maintain perfect relationships, stay fit, and achieve financial freedom all at the same time. However, this desire for all things at once often leads to frustration when it becomes clear that we can't give equal attention to everything. Life is full of competing demands, and trying to meet them all at the same time can dilute your energy and focus. By understanding the trade-offs, you can better set realistic expectations for yourself, acknowledging that while you might have to put something on hold for a while, it doesn't mean you can't revisit it later. There's also an element of long-term thinking in understanding trade-offs. In many cases, the most difficult trade-offs are those that involve immediate discomfort or sacrifice for the sake of future rewards. For example, choosing to save money today means foregoing some of the pleasures of spending in the present. But when you understand the trade-off, you see the bigger picture, the security and freedom that come with financial stability. The discomfort of saying no in the present is outweighed by the satisfaction and opportunities that come from having made the right decision. Understanding trade-offs is also about accepting that there will be times when you must choose between things that are all important. For instance, pursuing a career goal might require you to invest more time in work, which may reduce the time you have for social activities or personal hobbies. The trade-off, however, might lead to professional success and the resources needed to eventually enhance your quality of life. These decisions aren't easy, but by understanding the trade-offs, you give yourself the ability to choose with greater clarity and confidence. The key to embracing trade-offs lies in the ability to evaluate them honestly. It requires you to ask yourself, what is the real cost of this decision, and what am I willing to sacrifice to reach my goal? Sometimes we avoid acknowledging trade-offs because we fear the discomfort of making hard choices. But in reality, recognizing these trade-offs empowers you to make decisions that are more in alignment with your long-term vision, rather than being swayed by fleeting emotions or desires. As you become more adept at understanding trade-offs, you begin to gain a sense of control over your life. You no longer feel like you're simply reacting to circumstances or giving in to temptations. Instead, you are actively choosing the path that brings you closer to your goals. Whether it's sacrificing a weekend of relaxation to work on a project or foregoing an indulgence to stay on track with a health goal, each trade-off becomes an intentional choice that propels you forward. This proactive mindset gives you the discipline and clarity to pursue your goals with focus and determination, making every decision a step in the right direction. Measuring progress is a crucial part of self-discipline because it allows us to track how far we've come, adjust our actions, and stay motivated. Often, we set goals with a vision of where we want to be, but the journey can feel long and difficult. Without a clear way to measure progress, it's easy to become discouraged, especially when results aren't immediately visible. Measuring progress gives us the tools to break down our larger objectives into smaller, manageable pieces, helping us see the incremental steps that lead to the final destination. One of the key elements of measuring progress is setting clear, measurable goals from the start. Vague or undefined goals make it difficult to assess how much progress is being made. If your goal is simply get fit, it can be hard to gauge whether you're moving in the right direction. However, if you set a specific goal, like run a 5K in 3 months, you now have a clear endpoint to work to with measurable goals. It becomes easier to track improvements, see where you're falling short, and make necessary adjustments. When goals are specific and measurable, each step along the way provides valuable feedback. Another important aspect of measuring progress is recognizing that progress isn't always linear. Some days or weeks might feel more productive than others, and you may encounter setbacks or periods of stagnation. This doesn't mean that you aren't making progress, it simply means that progress doesn't always follow a straight line. Measuring progress helps you see the long-term trends, not just the fluctuations of day-to-day life. Over time, even small, consistent efforts compound into significant results. Regularly measuring your progress ensures that you stay focused on the overall direction, even when immediate outcomes aren't as obvious. An essential part of tracking progress is learning to celebrate the small wins. Too often we focus so much on the end goal that we overlook the little milestones along the way. For example, if you're working toward getting healthier, you might not notice the incremental improvements in your stamina or energy levels, but they are significant signs of progress. Taking time to acknowledge these smaller wins helps you stay motivated and reminds you that the work you're doing is meaningful, even when it doesn't feel like it's leading to immediate, dramatic change. Celebrating small wins builds momentum and helps you stay on track when things get tough. Measuring progress also requires an honest reflection of where you stand. Sometimes we can be so caught up in our goals that we ignore the reality of our current situation. Self-discipline requires objectivity, the ability to step back and assess whether we are truly moving in the right direction. It's easy to tell ourselves that we're doing well, but without measuring progress, we might be fooling ourselves. Self-reflection allows you to recognize areas where you might need to adjust your approach or where you might be overestimating your efforts. This honest evaluation is necessary for long-term success because it ensures that you're making meaningful progress toward your desired outcomes. Moreover, measuring progress isn't just about tracking achievements, it's also about tracking setbacks. Every challenge, failure, or detour is part of the process, and it's essential to note them in your progress assessment. Setbacks provide valuable lessons and insights into what's working and what's not. By tracking not only the successes, but also the obstacles, you can learn from them and adapt your strategies. This understanding keeps you from becoming discouraged when you hit a roadblock, reminding you that setbacks are not failures, but opportunities for growth. To truly measure progress, it's also vital to have a long-term perspective. Short-term results can be deceiving. They might show quick gains or immediate setbacks that don't reflect the bigger picture. The true measure of progress comes when you zoom out and look at how much you've accomplished over a longer period of time. It's easy to become impatient when the results don't match your expectations, but a long-term view helps you recognize that meaningful change takes time. Tracking your progress over weeks, months, or even years allows you to see the cumulative effect of your efforts, which can be far more rewarding than focusing solely on the immediate. In addition, measuring progress requires consistency in how you track it. Whether you use a journal, a fitness tracker, or a digital tool, the method you use to track your progress should be reliable and consistent. This consistency helps you see patterns and trends over time, making it easier to identify what's working and what needs to be adjusted. Having a set way of measuring progress also helps you stay accountable to yourself. It becomes a constant reminder of your goals and the efforts you're putting in, keeping you connected to your purpose and reinforcing the importance of self-discipline. Finally, measuring progress involves adaptability. As you track your progress, you may find that your initial goals need to be adjusted based on new information or evolving circumstances. This doesn't mean you failed, it means that you are learning and adapting your strategy. Being flexible with your goals and methods ensures that you remain on the path to success. Even if the journey looks a bit different than you originally, it allows you to continually refine your approach, making your self-discipline more effective and aligned with your long-term vision. By measuring progress in this way, honestly, consistently, and with an understanding of setbacks, you give yourself the tools to stay disciplined and motivated. You can see that every effort is a step towards something greater, and with each measurement, you gain more clarity and focus on the path ahead. Progress is not always about big leaps forward. Sometimes it's the small, consistent actions that build the most momentum over time. And in conclusion, self-discipline is not a trait that comes easily to many, but it is one that can be cultivated through intentional effort and conscious practice. The journey toward mastering self-discipline begins with understanding your purpose, which serves as the guiding force behind all your actions. Once you've identified your purpose, it's essential to embrace consistency, making small, deliberate steps every day toward your goals. As you embark on this path, make it personal. Take ownership of your actions and decisions and develop habits that align with your vision. Always remember to focus on the long term, understanding that meaningful change takes time and patience. Accept that every decision involves trade-offs and measure your progress regularly to ensure you stay on track. Finally, in the face of challenges, stay resilient. Life will test your resolve, but with resilience, you'll find the strength to rise every time you fall. Self-discipline is not about perfection. It's about continuous growth, learning, and commitment. It's about showing up every day, even when things are tough, and understanding that every effort, no matter how small, is a step forward. If you stay true to your purpose, embrace the process, and remain resilient, there is no limit to what you can achieve.